We are in England today, folks. Enjoying a flight on Scandinavian Airlines, heading across the channel over to Amsterdam. Schiphol or Stupel or Stopel, I don't know the name of that darn airport. But this is Gatwick Airport in jolly old England. Cheerio, old chap. This airport is Freeware, but it is wonderful. Look, Freeware. Look at in the overhead crossover. I believe I can see some passengers up there on the moving walkway. Is that what I'm seeing up there? Passengers moving back and forth on the moving walkway? Just incredible. Anyway, let's see if we can't get the jet bridge attached. One of our big purposes today is to give the ground handling program a fleshing out. I've had mixed emotions about it. I love the graphics of it. I love the animations. The artwork is wonderful. But the implementation is a bit rocky, at least in my opinion. So we have the jet bridge attached. Let's call for a fuel truck. I know that always takes a little while.
Refueling truck is on its way.
Oh, refueling truck is on its way.
Please don't load aircraft until the fuel truck arrives and ask to do it.
Okay, I can follow simple instructions. How about we go to the overhead? We are deader than a doornail. So down on our flight management computer, we will select Flight Simulator Actions, Ground Services. Let's request some external power. Connecting. See if it indeed is connecting. Should be a yellow cable. There it is, yellow cable leading out from under the nose right to the jet bridge. Now we should have external power. Yes, we have external power available. Let's turn on the battery. Select ground power. Make sure our position light is in the steady position, which it is. People on the ground know that there's activity on this aircraft. We also have a cabin crew aboard, so we'll arm the exit lights in case anyone in the cabin needs to find their way out in a hurry. We'll arm the chimes, and we'll test the attend button, just in case I need to get a hold of someone very quickly. Seatbelt sign can remain off, and the upstairs looks okay for right now. Where's that fuel truck? Could be a little while till he arrives. Oh, there he is. There's the fuel truck. He's the only moving vehicle in all of Gatwick Airport.
Fuel truck is in position. Please use your airplane fuel system to set the desired fuel quantity.
Use the airplane fuel system. Okay, I can do that. Fuel. And we don't have much fuel, only 1,000 kilos right now. We need block fuel is 7695 kilos.
Please use your airplane fuel system to set the desired fuel quantity.
Okay, and the aircraft is loading. You can see 32 gallons, 97 kilos. So it'll take a little while to get that loaded. And while that's happening, let's go to our flight management computer. We are in a Boeing 737-600. Our engines are rated at 22,000 pounds of thrust. Our air cycle is current. Today is October 29th. Position initialization. We are at Echo Golf Kilo Kilo. I don't think it's going to recognize our stand number, but I'll put it in. It does. How about that? Our stand is recognized, and our last position is on that stand. So that's pretty good. Let's get that INS system starting the align process. Outside position light is on. I'm going to turn on the left aft fuel pump in anticipation of the APU. Cross feed valve is closed. On, light is bright. Light goes dim. Off, light is bright. And light goes off. Displays are in the auto and normal position. Nav switches are in the normal position. Yaw damper is off, and that can wait on the APU. Spoiler, flight control, and standby hydraulic alternate flaps all are in the guarded and closed position. That is fine. We can do a test on the leading edge flaps and slats. That is fine. IRS system, align and nav on the left system, align and nav on the right system. Let's spin this lower dial. Tell us how long we have in the align process. 8 minutes. We'll turn on the speaker to the nav 1 radio and the marker on the number 3 radio. The microphone is selected for the captain's position. There's the first officer position. We'll go back to captain. Flight recorder is in the normal position. Mach airspeed warning test on number 1 and on number 2. We're going to hold off on a stall warning test. Engine, electrical system are closed and guarded. Cabin oxygen, our crew oxygen is fine. Passenger oxygen switch is closed, guarded, and safety wired closed. Landing gear is indicating 3 down and locked. Service interphone is off. Dome light is on bright. Wipers are off. APU is off. Bus transfer, we are on ground power. Standby power switches are closed and guarded. Battery is showing 28 volt DC, 115 volt AC on the battery bus, supplied by ground power. Chimes are to on, seatbelts are to off, emergency exit lights are armed, equipment cooling supply is to normal, supply and exhaust is to normal. Circuit breaker and panel lights are turned up. Window heating can come on. Hold off on the probe heat until we're pushed away from the gate because those surfaces can become hot and injure folks on the outside. Wing anti-ice and engine anti-ice are off. Hydraulics are not actuated. Cockpit voice recorder. We're going to hold the green switch for 5 seconds and wait for the green light. 1, 2, 3. There's the green light. That's good. Cabin pressure differential is 0 because we're vented to the atmosphere. The altitude here at Gatwick, I believe, is about 200 feet, and we're going to set that in there just in case we have to return back to Gatwick very quickly. Pull up some charts here for Gatwick. Elevation 203 feet. So we are okay at that 200 feet to return to Gatwick. Air conditioning packs are off. And interior pressure showing 39 degrees in the supply duct. Passenger cabin is reading 32 degrees. That's on the warm side. So we'll get that cooled down once we get the passengers aboard and the air conditioning started. But that all looks good. Let's grab one of our, let's go to our next page, grab one of these GPS coordinates and plug it right in there. Our routing today is from Gatwick to Amsterdam Schiphol Airport. Schiphol. I'm probably mutilating that pronunciation. I know I am. SAS flight number 43 is our flight number, and our routing today is pretty darn simple. Okay, so from Gatwick, runway 26 on the Fran 1M departure to Fran, F-R-A-N-E. And then on the M604 airway, and that'll take us to Spear, Tovgu, Daga, and Gaspa. And at Gaspa, we change over to the M197. So Gaspa. And then we M197. And we use the 197 through Ratlow and then to Redfa. And Redfa is the end of the 197 for us. And that's our routing. Departing from Gatwick on 26 left using the, let's make sure we got this right, Fran 1M departure. There it is. And arriving on runway ILS to okay. Okay, we don't have the ILS here. Let's see. Okay. Schiphol. Boy, that's a hard word to pronounce, isn't it? Eham Schiphol Airport, Amsterdam Schiphol. And what I'm looking for is approaches to 18 right and the ILS. Okay, and I want to add that in to the routing. Overlay the en route chart. That's what I want to do. Okay. And what will this do? Okay. Destination, approach. ILS 18 right. Add to route. That's what I was looking for. Add to route. Okay. Here we go. Redfa 1, ILS runway 18 right. Sugal. Great. So let's ILS 18 right. And Sugal. Route, activate, execute. Wonderful. So let's go to the legs page. We've got a discontinuity right before Sugal. So we'll put that in. And that should be fine. Let's go to the map page. or the plan page rather, and step through our waypoints and make sure this makes logical sense. So, westerly departure around D258 and Det 31, Det 29 are just to get us turned around. So off the runway, heading east, and then heading north, then heading east across the channel. Ratlow is across the channel, Red Fuzz across the channel, and we're going to be landing to the south. Let's get the range kicked out here a little bit. Yeah, this is yucky. This is bad. Okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to previous page. Gaspa, Ratlow. Next page. AM 241 needs to go to the front of the class. There we go. So now we leave Respa and we've got a nice southerly approach. No jinxing around to get us on the approach. Let's pull out the range just a little bit so I can see that whole transition. Yeah, Ratlow, Redfa, and then land to the south. That looks great. How are we doing on our fueling? We fueled out there? Fuel truck is gone. I guess that means we must be fueled. If that's the case, let's hop back inside. Get the anti-collision light turned on. Turn on the APU so we can get some air conditioning started. We'll turn on the... Oh, wait for that to actually get kicked on. And while we're waiting for the APU to fire up, let's request boarding. And this will board
boarding requested.
Passengers and bags. So the exhaust gas temperature gauge is starting to climb. Low oil pressure light should go out here. There it goes. And once that EGT falls into the operational range, we'll be on the APU. APU available should illuminate here. We'll transfer the power off of ground power and onto the APU. There we go. Should start hearing the pitter-patter of little feet as these folks start to come aboard. We'll get the dual bleed on for engine start. Packs, left pack and right pack on. Isolation valve to auto.
Pilot's boarding starting.
And that'll cool things down. So we're looking good up here. Our payload today, okay, so we're going to have 8 first-class passengers, 104 coach passengers, and our cargo load is 367.
Crew boarding starting.
So we'll put 167 in the forward hold and 200 in the aft hold, which will make 367. And even though you'll hear the pitter-patter in the background, according to the aircraft, that load fuel passengers and cargo has all happened instantaneously. So we can go to our flight management computer and continue our setup. Zero fuel weight is calculated, which gives us a gross fuel weight and a center of gravity. Our target altitude today is flight level 290. I'm going to request a performance initialization. Cruise
Your crew
wind.
has boarded. Passengers boarding starting.
I'm doing good.
220 at 48 is our top of climb wind. Performance initialization uplink ready. Great. Reserves. Oh. Let's go ahead and load and execute. Reserves are 2.4, cost index is 85. Transition altitude should be 6,000 feet for England, I believe. No D-rate on the takeoff. Flaps 5. Calculate the center of gravity. Trim 5.2. And we'll verify those V speeds. 5.2 on the trim wheel. Just a little tinge beyond the 5 mark. Wonderful. V2 speed is 128. We'll put 128 into our MCP. RTO on the brakes. Hold off on the flaps until we're pushed from the gate. Showing 3 down and locked here on the console. Engine cutoff switches are to cutoff. Levers are to idle. Parking brake is on. Speed brake is retracted. Flaps are retracted. All is right in the world. So, with that said, let's talk to air traffic control and see if we can't get a clearance.
Gatwick Airport information, Golf 1100 Zulu. Wind tree 15 at tree. Visibility, 9er. Sky condition, 2,300 feet, scattered 4,600 feet, scattered 13,600 feet scattered. Temperature, 19er. Dew point, 1 tree. QNH 29er, decimal 9er 1. ILS runway 26 left and visual runway 26 right in use. Landing and departing runway 26 left and runway 26 right. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact you have golf.
Well, she gave us the pressure setting in inches of mercury, which is a North American standard. We're in Europe, so we'll need to get that in hectopascals. And I'm sure the next controller will correct that mistake. We have our runways, 26 left, 26 right. I'm sure it'll be 26 left. And I turned on the flight directors, so let's get a clearance. Gatwick, clearance delivery. Scandinavian 4-tree, ready to copy.
Scandinavian 4-3 is cleared to Echo Hotel Alpha Mike. Climb via the Fran 1M departure, with the frame transition, then as filed. Expect departure runway 26 left. Climb to flight level 120 via the departure. Expect higher clearances 7 minutes after departure. Radar director on 129.02. Squawk 5144.
Scandinavian 4-3 is cleared to Echo Hotel Alpha Mike.
climb via the Fran 1M departure, with the frame transition, then as filed. Climb to flight level 120 via the departure. Expect higher clearances 7 minutes after departure. Radar director on 129.02. Squawk 5144.
Scandinavian 43 reback correct. QNH is 1015, contact ground on 121.8 when ready for pushback, enjoy.
QNH is 1015, ground on 121.8, Scandinavian 43.
Up to 12,000 on the climb out. 1015 on the pressure setting. And she gave us a squawk of 5144. Put that down here in the transponder. And the transponder for now can go into standby. We are looking good. How about time to run a checklist? See if our first officer is ready for a checklist.
Flight attendants prepare for landing.
Long landing, long landing, long landing.
Okay, I just did a...
Dear passengers, as a safety protocol, the cabin lights will be dimmed for landing.
We're going to be changing aircraft here. This one is, has a technical issue that the engineers need more time. And we have a spare one here on the ground, so we'll cancel domestic clearance and we'll be in touch again in a little while.
I just did an audio test on our first officer, so that's what that was.
Pre-flight checklist. Passenger signs.
Passenger signs are on. Did I turn the seatbelt sign on? I hope I did. I don't remember actually. I did not. Seatbelt sign needs to go on.
Passenger signs.
That is
on.
Flight instrument.
Flight instruments. Oopsie. Got all spun around here.
Flight instrument.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Heading set, altimeter set.
Navigation and radios.
Set.
Radar and transponder.
Set.
Altimeters.
Set.
Power levers.
Closed.
Condition levers.
Cut off.
Parking brake.
Set.
Checklist complete.
Okay, I'm not sure this is the correct checklist. She just asked me about condition levers. I don't know if our plane has condition levers. Let's make sure we get the correct aircraft. And I want to test the oxygen here on my side of the cabin. That test is okay. I'm going to trust the first officer to test the oxygen on her side. Meanwhile, I'm just going to hop out of the seat for just a little bit and check the circuit breakers here in the back. Make sure they're all flush. None are popped out. Check the oxygen supply for the jump seat passenger. That seems to be okay. Just to see and make sure the jump seat is working. It is. That's fine. Put that away. Check the airworthiness certificate and the registration. That's fine. Verify our crash axis in position. It is. Look at the fire extinguisher. The bottle is in the green. We can check to make sure we have our emergency use landing gear pins. Now we have landing gear pins in the landing gear, but if we were to operate off airport or at an airport not accustomed to the 737, we could use these alternate landing gear pins. Check the gravity drop landing gear release valves. They are okay. Emergency breathing apparatus is crew personal breathing equipment. That's okay. And there's a good view of the crash axe right there. We're looking pretty good. Pre-flight checklist is
ground camera
okay.
Delta Victor in.
On board, when you have found your seat, they will ask you to step aside to let those behind you pass. We will ask you to place your cabin baggage either under the seat in front of you or in the overhead compartment.
Ladies and gentlemen, your captain, welcome to Scandinavian Airline and the Star Alliance and our flight. In our preparation to start up, our cabin crew will conduct our safety demonstration. Important information, so please follow this closely. So for now, I hope all of you will be comfortably seated, and I wish you a blessed flight.
Great. Got the folks aboard, and we've said hello to them. Let's see how the passenger boarding is going. Boarding is completed. We're ready for pushback. Okay. Let's get a pushback clearance. Gatwick ground. Scandinavian 43 requests pushback and engine start.
Scandinavian 43 pushback and engine start approved.
Pushback and engine start approved. Scandinavian 43.
Fuel pumps can come on. Air conditioning can come off. Build up our duct pressure for engine start. And we'll tell the ground crew that we're ready for pushback. Let's close that cabin door.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Wonderful. Oh, gotta get off ground power. And after we leave, we'll get rid of the chocks. Release the ground power and remove the chocks.
Departure check completed. Bypass pin inserted.
Locking gear.
Ground today, Golf Tango Hotel India Alpha with information via tuning 102.
Great day, good.
Golf Tango Hotel India Alpha.
Golf Tango Hotel India Alpha,
Golf Tango Hotel India Alpha, 3 5 hours endurance request, activate IFR flight plan for 10 yards to Amsterdam. For 1 hour, the whole bottle bag. Go to Gatwick.
Confirm Italian chaos, BA for D2.
Commencing push. All engines are clear. Start at will.
Let's go to ground on the number 2 engine, right ignition. We can turn on the probe heat, the hydraulics, and the yaw damper. We're getting rotation on number 2. Let's introduce fuel. Go to ground on the right side. I'm sorry, on the left side. What's going on outside? No.
Please set parking brakes.
Parking brake is set.
Waiting your confirmation for a good engine start.
We have rotation on number 1.
Demonstration av nödstrussningen ombord och ber dig därför att du tar av dig dina hörlurar och lyssnar uppmärksamt.
And number 1 is fired.
Demonstration, so please move your headset and pay close attention. You will find a summary of the information on the safe on board card in your seat pocket.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can
Your
disconnect.
seatbelt is fastened and open like this, and always keep it fastened whenever the seatbelt sign is on, and we do recommend that you keep your belt fastened during the whole flight when needed. If oxygen is needed, a panel above you will open and mask will appear. Pull down the mask firmly, place it over your nose and mouth, and breathe normally. Adjust the strap to hold the mask in place, and secure your own mask at first before helping others. You will find your life vest under your seat. Pull the vest over your head and pass the strap around your waist. Fasten the buckle and tighten the strap. When leaving through the exit, inflate the vest by pulling the tab. If the vest needs more or less air, use the mouthpiece, and a light will illuminate automatically when in contact with water. The emergency exit tab, over the wings, and in the compartment cabin are all marked with exit signs. And lights in the aisle will guide you to the exit. Look for the exit as it may be located right behind you. Smoking and the use of electronic cigarettes is not allowed on SAS flights, including in the lavatory. And if you need to open the overhead compartment during the flight, we ask you to do so carefully to prevent baggage from falling out. Thank you, and we all wish you a pleasant flight. Jag sammanfattar nu den information som finns på Safety Ombord-kortet i stolsfickan. Bältet ska alltid vara fastspänt med skylten med säkerhetsbältet i tänd.
There she is with the pin.
Att du håller bältet fastspänt under hela resan när du sitter i stolen.
Okay, ready to run another checklist?
Before start checklist. Flight deck door.
Closed and locked.
Fuel 763 kilograms.
Check.
Passenger signs.
Set.
MCP. Speed 0. Heading 0. Altitude 0.
Check.
Takeoff speed.
Set.
CDU pre-flight.
Completed.
Rudder and aileron trim.
3 and 0.
Taxi and takeoff briefing.
Completed.
Anti-collision light.
On.
Checklist complete.
Let's do an after start checklist. Oh, okay. Before we do that, let's do a flight control check. Elevator full down, full motion, no deflection, seems to be oriented in the correct direction. Elevator full up, full deflection, no binding, seems to be in the correct direction. Right aileron, full deflection, no binding, and seems to be in the correct direction. Left aileron, full deflection, no binding, seems to be correct direction. Rudder, right rudder, full deflection, no binding. Left rudder, full deflection, no binding. Flight controls are good. Gatwick ground, Scandinavian 4-tree, request taxi, runway 26 left.
Scandinavian 4-3 taxi to runway 26 left via taxiways Quebec Alpha, Lima, Papa, Bravo, Old Sort runway 26 left.
Taxi to runway.
Let's do that one more time. Gatwick ground, Scandinavian 4-tree, request taxi, runway 26 left.
Scandinavian 43 taxi to runway 26 left via taxiways Quebec Alpha, Lima, Papa, Bravo, Old Sort runway 26 left.
Taxi to runway 26 left via taxiways Quebec Alpha, Lima, Papa, Bravo, hold short runway 26 left Scandinavian 43.
Great, let's get our transponder and TCAS system reporting to the TARA mode, traffic advisory and resolution mode, and the transponder is in the reporting position. Taxi lights on, runway turn off lights on. Let's transfer the electricity from the APU onto the aircraft. And now we can get rid of the APU. Get the air conditioning back on, dual bleed off. AC on, isolation valve auto. And what are we looking at for cabin temperature? You can see our cabin temperature is now at 19 degrees, so it's much, much better than it was. Voice recorder on auto, and that's all looking good. Do a stall warning test on number 1. Stall warning test on number 2. Number 2 is not coming up. Let's do a ground proximity warning system test.
Glide slow. Pull up. Wind shear. Wind shear. Wind shear. Terrain. Terrain. Pull up. Airspeed low. Airspeed low.
Do a test on the autopilot warning system. System 1, fine. System 2 on the pilot flying side, fine. On the first officer side, System 1, fine. System 2, fine. Let's do an enunciator lights test. Every light in the house, every bulb, every element, every filament illuminated and shining brightly. That test is fine. Let's do a test on the fire bottles. Fire bottles for the APU. That's fine. Fire bottles for the engines. That's fine. Let's do a test on the fire test system. Oops, wrong way. That's fine. Now let's do an actual fire test. That's fine. And we'll test for smoke in the cargo area. And that test is fine. Speakers are to nav 1 and marker on the pilot flying side. Nav 1 and marker on the first officer's side. Microphone 1 is set to the pilot. Microphone 2 is set to the first officer, just as it should be. Cabin door is locked. Check to the left. Check to the right. No obstructions. We have our taxi clearance. So let's release the parking brake. Do a quick brake check. Brake check is good. Flaps to 5. Have a little, we're just a little bit close here on the right hand side, so I'm going to use a little asymmetric thrust.
Okay. 26 Charlie Mike, ground taxi Alpha, hold short 17 and contact tower 119 decimal 3.
Taxi Alpha, hold short runway 17 and contact the tower 119 decimal 3.
Hope I don't get hung up. Pretend I'm going to make that without any instruction. And I don't know where that cutter aircraft is going, but we're not going with him. So we're here at this pier. We're taxiing down to taxiway Juliet. And we want to be here at Mike for full length on 27. So that's our taxi plan. And we're on the Fran 1Z departure. So it's we're departing 27, circling around, and then to Fran. 2,000. The constraints are in the computer. I'm not going to worry about these constraints. Between 2 and 5,000 feet, 5,000 feet, and 6,000 feet at Fran. And that is our departure. Taxi checklist.
Taxi checklist. Generators.
On.
Scandinavian 43 contact tower on 124.22. Area good morning.
Tower on 124.22 Scandinavian 43.
Probe heat is on.
Probe heat.
Probe heat is on.
On.
Anti-ice.
Set.
Isolation valve.
Auto.
Engine start switches.
Continuous.
Recall.
Check.
Auto brake.
RTO.
Flight controls.
Check.
Ground equipment.
Clear.
Checklist complete.
Okay, we need to go to continuous on the engines.
Hello, Ryanair 21 uniform taxiing Alpha 17, hold short, fully ready. 21 uniform taxi Alpha, line up runway 17.
Let's get the landing lights on. The anti-collision light, I'm sorry, the position light to strobe. Logo light on, wing light on. We're heading up to 12,000 feet. And upstairs is looking pretty good. We have permission to change over to tower frequency. Gatwick Tower, Scandinavian 4-tree, ready for departure, runway 26 left.
Contact ground on 121.8 for taxi instructions.
I don't want to contact
Holding
ground.
number 1 ground on 121.8 for taxi.
No,
Scandinavian 4-3.
No, we don't want to do that. Gatwick Tower, Scandinavian 4-tree, ready for departure, runway 26 left. Auto throttle can come on. Let's start the clock. Gatwick Tower, Scandinavian 4-tree, ready for departure, runway 26 left. Okay, Tower. Folks up there need to wake up a little. Okay, well, let's say we have a takeoff clearance. I hate doing this. I really don't like doing this. Let's go in toga. Pitch attitude.
Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. One notch of flaps. VNav. LNav. Command 1, Command A.
And a 21 uniform, surfacing 200 degrees 07, runway 17, clear takeoff.
Let's go up another notch of flaps.
Takeoff 17, Ryanair 21 uniform.
And flaps full up. Well, I'm missing my air traffic control.
Scandinavian 43 windows are 200 at 10 knots, cleared for takeoff. Runway 26 left.
Cleared for takeoff. Runway 26 left, Scandinavian 43.
Well, better late than never, right?
Scandinavian 43 contact Gatwick radar director on 129.02. Good day.
Radar director on 129.02, Scandinavian 43.
Auto brakes can go to max. Landing gear handle can go off.
5 tree is at 10,600 feet, descending 7,500 feet.
Radar director Scandinavian 43 at 4,000 feet, climbing to flight level 120.
Scandinavian 43, good morning. Radar contact.
Easy 5 tree, contact London Center on 118.475. Good day.
There's Gatwick. We have a constraint. You remember that constraint between 2,000 and 5,000 feet. So we're here at 4,000 feet for that constraint, but that'll go away in less than 1.2 miles. And then we'll be able to continue our climb. And of course, we're under our 250 knot speed limit. $5,000-foot restraint at Acorn.
Good morning, looking for cargo 8230. Heavy start about 300 CTD up. From the cargo 8230, hello, that's fine.
Nine miles to Acorn. Whoa, aircraft just passed us. Did you see that little guy? Little GA aircraft zoomed right on by us. Look at the fall colors. Yeah, those fall colors are wonderful. Just a little over 4 miles and we'll lose that 5,000-foot constraint.
Scandinavian 43 contact London Control on 118.47. Have a good morning.
Center on 118.47. Take care, Scandinavian 43.
There goes Acorn. Looks like our next
Center
waypoint.
Scandinavian 43 climbing to flight level 120.
Scandinavian 43, good morning. Radar contact.
Our next waypoint also has a 5,000 foot restriction or constraint. Let's check that out one more time. So 5,000 at Acorn, 5,000 at Detling, and then 6,000 at Frame. And once we pass Frame, then we're off the procedure. So that's why we're holding at 5,000.
Victor, descend level 280. Descend level 280, look at the Victor, Victor.
125.625, Scandinavian 531. Speedbird 242 heavy contact, Paris Center on 119.825. Good day.
4 miles to Det. So Det at 5,000 and Frame at 6,000.
London Center Speedbird 242 heavy 8,600 feet. Speedbird 242 heavy London Center QNH to 9.9 continue to Rodno as planned. Contact Paris Center on 126.475. Good day. Going
300 feet, 200 feet to transition altitude. Transition altitude will go into standard pressure.
Tree traffic is 3 o'clock, 4 miles at flight level tree 40 Boeing 737.
There is 6,000 feet. On to standard.
Tomjet tree, have the Boeing 737 in sight.
And now that we're at Frame, we can continue on up to 12.
5,400 feet, descending 5,000 feet. Eurowings 2460 London Center QNH to 9.9 continue to Alesso as planned. Speedbird 5 tree, you are tree 8 miles
Scandinavian 43 climb and maintain flight level 180.
Climb and maintain flight level 180 Scandinavian 43.
180 in the MCP and 180 on the pressure for the atmosphere.
Center Scandinavian
43 radar contact.
Center Scandinavian 43 climbing to flight level 180.
Scandinavian 43 radar contact.
.900 feet and we will be out of sterile cockpit. We can discuss non-aviation matters if we like. Also at 10,000 feet we lose that speed limit. We can kick our speed up. As you can see, it's starting to climb. And we can go off, landing lights off, runway turn off, lights off. Engine switches to normal.
Could you please take and hop in 47?
Center Scandinavian 43 climbing to flight level 180. Scandinavian 43 radar contact.
Uniform, you were quite unreadable.
Finnair 47 uniform, how do you read me now?
Reading you 5 now.
Thank you, descent level 260, 1500 feet per minute over.
Descent level 260, 1500, come on, Finnair 47 uniform.
GCAS system is saying we have traffic right ahead of us, above us at 400 feet above us. GCAS system is saying there's traffic.
Scandinavian 43 climb and maintain flight. Scandinavian 43 radar contact. Climb and maintain flight level 240.
Oh, there he is.
Climb
there he is.
Maintain flight level 240.
Whoa.
Scandinavian 43.
Wow. GCAS system does work. 240.
Air China 575 Heavy, have the insight.
Yeah, that was close. 240.
Center Scandinavian 43 climbing to flight level 240. Center Scandinavian 43 climbing to flight level 240.
Scandinavian 43 radar contact.
Tower on 125.55, Ryanair, tree 4.
Scandinavian 43 climb and maintain flight level 290.
Climb and maintain flight level 290 Scandinavian 43.
Nordic 5 traffic is 1 o'clock, 2 miles at 17,800 feet Airbus. Report them in sight.
Center Scandinavian.
Scandinavian 43 radar contact.
Traffic is 5 o'clock, 1 mile at flight level 215 Boeing 737.
Center Scandinavian 43 climbing to flight level 290.
Scandinavian 43 radar contact.
Nordic 5 have the traffic. Ryanair 85, 6-your, 21 miles northeast. Descend and maintain 6,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 04 approach via Abbott transition. Clear to Abbott.
Well, we're going to have a very limited time for the flight attendants to offer their service. So I'm going to go ahead, set them free.
6,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 04 approach via Abbott transition. Clear to Abbott Ryanair 856.
Whenever the seatbelt sign overhead is illuminated, we do encourage you to keep your seatbelt fastened throughout the flight. Be careful when opening the overhead compartments in case anything should fall out and cause injury to yourself or a fellow passenger.
Ryanair 856 contact. Stansted approach on 136.2. Good day.
Expect the Red 1 Alpha arrival with the red for transition for the ILS approach to runway 18 right with the SUG-1D transition after Ratlow cleared direct red for scan.
Scandinavian Force radar contact.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has turned off the fasten seatbelt sign, and you may now move around the cabin. However, we always recommend to keep your seatbelt fastened while you're seated.
4 miles at flight level 240 Boeing 737. Report them in sight.
Center Scandinavian 43 climbing to flight level 290.
Scandinavian 43 radar contact.
Report them in sight. Air Albania 6001, you are 21 miles northeast. Descend and maintain 6,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 04 approach via Abbott transition. Clear to Abbott. Descend and maintain 6,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 04 approach via Abbott transition. Clear to Abbott Air Albania 6001. Air Moldova 8 tree traffic is 1 o'clock, 4 miles at flight level 190 Boeing 737. Report them in sight. Nordic 5 traffic is 4 o'clock, 3 miles at 16,100 feet Airbus. Report them in sight. Air Moldova 8 tree, have the Boeing 737 in sight. Descend and maintain 6,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 04 approach via Abbott transition. Clear to Abbott Air Moldova 8 tree.
Center Scandinavian 43 climbing to flight level 290. Scandinavian 43 radar contact.
Second, Premier 517. Direct Woody, Premier 517.
Easy 5 tree, have the Boeing 737.
We have a standard 3-degree glide slope. The final approach fix, or Maltese cross, is at
Scandinavian
Pivos.
43 descend to cross red for at flight level 230, then descend via the red 1 Alpha arrival with the red for transition to cross Sugol at or above flight level 140 QNH is 1016 at Schiphol. Descend via the red 1 Alpha arrival with the red for transition to cross Sugol at or above flight level 140 QNH is 1016 Scandinavian 43.
110.1 on the frequency, 182 on the course. Airport elevation is minus 11. So landing elevation will be 0.
Center Scandinavian 43 at flight level 290.
Scandinavian 43 radar contact.
Ryanair 1 contact Brussels Center on 125.0. Good day.
40 degrees flaps at 124 knots. 110.10 on the radio, 182 on the course.
Ryanair 509er, have the traffic. Lufthansa tree, contact Amsterdam Center on 119er, decimal 175. Good day.
One 10.10.
119er, decimal 175 for Lufthansa tree.
One 10.10 on the nav radio for 1 and 2, and 182 on the course.
London Center, Ryanair, tree 1 flight level 250. Ryanair tree 1 London Center, continue to Abbott as planned.
And 189 on the decision height. Right there. So 200 feet is the decision height, but the airport elevation is minus 11, which makes that 189.
Center Scandinavian 43 at flight level 290.
We've been given our descent
Scandinavian Force Radar contact.
down to 2300.
Ryanair 1 contact Amsterdam Center on 119er, decimal 175. Good day. Lufthansa 5 traffic is 3 o'clock, 4 miles at flight level tree 55 Boeing 737. Report them in sight. Nordic 5 traffic is 12 o'clock, 4 miles at flight level tree 70 Airbus.
Scandinavian Force contact Amsterdam Center on 119 decimal 17. Enjoy your afternoon.
Center on 119 decimal 17 Scandinavian 43.
Seatbelt sign is coming back on.
Amsterdam Center, Corendon 79er flight level tree 60.
Center Scandinavian 43 at flight level 290.
Scandinavian 43, good afternoon. Radar contact.
Center Scandinavian 43 descending to flight level 140. Scandinavian 43 radar contact.
Lufthansa tree, have the traffic.
Binary 47 uniform. Go ahead, copy now 47 uniform. Just send you a data link message. You go to Amsterdam. Before you go, proceed direct to Artip. Direct Artip and we are changing to 343 McFarland.
Center Scandinavian 43 descending to flight level 140.
Scandinavian 43 radar contact.
Easy 208 tree traffic is 8 o'clock 3 miles at flight level 350 Boeing 737. Report them in sight.
if I can get an ATIS. Let's see if I can get an ATIS from
Report them in sight.
From Stupel. Nothing on that frequency. How about this one? Nothing on that frequency either. Okay, no ATIS.
Ryanair 7 traffic in sight.
Center Scandinavian 43 descending to flight level 140.
Scandinavian Force radar contact.
Sunturk 5 Amsterdam Center. Continue as planned. Easy 208 tree traffic is 1 o'clock, 4 miles at flight level 370 Airbus. Report them in sight.
Traffic. Oh, more traffic. 300 feet below us. Traffic is 300 feet below us.
At flight level 180. Report them in sight.
300 feet below us is the traffic. Oh, there he is.
KLM 258 Heavy have the traffic.
Yeah, there's the KLM. Well, not only did the air traffic control system identified him as a KLM, and he looked like a KLM, but the TCAS system picked him up as well. So that all in all was wonderful. Okay, 14,000 feet. I'm going to switch over to VNAV, which is going to shallow us out a little.
Green Star 907 traffic is 10 o'clock, 4 miles at flight level 350 Airbus A321. Report them in sight. Ryanair 9er, 2 contact London Center on 118.475. Good day. Elal 312 traffic is 1 o'clock, 4 miles at flight level 370 Airbus. Report them in sight.
You can see by the vertical navigation profile that we are...
Scandinavian Force QNH is 1015 cleared for the ILS approach to runway 18 right with the SOG-1D transit ion at SC Hipol contact approach on 118 decimal for good afternoon.
QNH is 1015 cleared for the ILS approach to runway 18 right with the SUG-1D transition approach on 118.4 Scandinavian 43.
We're falling into vertical profile. As you can see, this number decreasing.
Approach Scandinavian 43 at flight level 130.
Scandinavian 43, good afternoon. Radar contact.
And we'll continue on down to 2,300 feet. But this time we're on the vertical profile of the aircraft, and the aircraft will keep in mind any constraints, and at 10,000 feet our speed should drop down to the 250 knot speed limit. There you can see our speed dropping. We're temporarily leveling out just above 10,000 feet, so we can bleed off that speed.
Do you mind brining me and the captain a cup of coffee? No problem. We'll bring it right up.
There's 10,000 feet, landing lights on. Runway turn-off lights on. Taxi light on. Engine switches
Approach
to continuous fire.
43 at flight level 010.
Scandinavian 43 radar contact. Scandinavian 43 radar contact.
Let's go to flaps 1. And the aircraft is going to temporarily hold altitude while it leads off speed to the flaps 1 position.
3 Mike Delta, direct to Denko. Direct Denko, lot 3 Mike Delta.
Let's go to flaps 2. Let's go to flaps 5. Starting to get the Morse identifier for our ILS frequency. Let's go to VOR lock. Schiphol Airport should be right around here somewhere.
Scandinavian.
Descent to 2,000 feet via the approach
Scandinavian 43 radar contact. Scandinavian 43 radar contact.
We're given 2,000 feet.
Flight 3, 5 November, direct to Tonki.
6,000 feet. Let's go on to standard pressure. Pressure is 1015. Landing gear down. Let's have another notch of flaps. Let's have another notch of flaps. Let's arm the approach. Let's go into dual autopilot.
Approach Scandinavian 43 descending to 2,000 feet.
Scandinavian 43 radar contact.
I'll take another notch of flaps.
Approach Scandinavian 43 descending to 2,000 feet.
Scandinavian 43 radar contact.
And one more notch of flaps. And full flaps.
Slot 15, turn left to Med.
Left to Med, slot 15.
Scandinavian 43 QNH is 1015 at Schifel contact tower on 118.1. Have a good afternoon.
QNH is 1015 tower on 118.1 Scandinavian 43. Tower Scandinavian 43 inbound for ILS approach runway 18 right.
Scandinavian 43 good afternoon. Radar contact. Continue ILS to runway 18 right call when established on final.
Continue ILS to runway 18 right will call when established on final Scandinavian 43.
We have VOR lock and glide slope. I know the runway's there, I just don't fully have the environment yet. Steppel Tower, Scandinavian 43 on final. Steppel Tower, Scandinavian 43 on final.
Scandinavian 43 winds are 258 at 5 knots, cleared to land runway 18 right.
Cleared to land runway 18 right Scandinavian 43.
Gotta have the environment before decision height. I can barely make out the real lights, not the fake ones, but the real ones, the runway end identifier lights, REIL. But that's not the full runway environment. The runway environment consists of 2 or 3 different factors. One of them is the lights.
Cross runway 0725 at Gatwick, thanks for sharing.
180 backtrack here to cross 0725 and thank you Charlie Weiner 11 meter.
We have auto land, land 3, which will control our rollout and our flare. The only thing it won't do is put on the reversers. We have auto brakes to maximum, rollout is controlled, and the flare is controlled. We lost our traffic advisory. We have traffic advisory only. The resolution mode has cut out because of our altitude. There, I can make out the rest of the landing environment.
400. 300. 200. Approaching minimum.
Continue.
Scandinavian 43 exit runway when even.
What a nice touchdown.
Flaps up. APU on. Landing lights off. Why is this aircraft not wanting to turn? There we go. Well, still can't get that left rudder to really work. What's going on with the left rudder? The left rudder does not want to work. Well, folks, we're here at Schiphol Airport. I'm having rudder issues, so I'm going to conclude the flight here. No taxi in. Just can't. Well, no, it's just not holding. I could apply left rudder and it might goes on for a second or two and then it goes away. So I'm having rudder issues and that'll end the flight. Thanks folks for joining me, and I hope to see you along next time. Have a good day.